Hey guys, Mas Sajady here. Hope you are doing super well. Welcome to Moss on Sundays. Thanks for being here, and thanks for the raving and reviews. Really fantastic. If you can send more and more people on if you can send more people over to this channel to really help awaken consciousness. Hope you are doing super well. Welcome to Moss on Sundays. Thanks for the raving and reviews. Really fantastic. There we go. Getting some feedback. Here we go. Alrighty. So this talk, Moss on Sundays, is Elon Musk, Nikola Tesla, and how Albert Einstein, and how to think like them. So um, again, a lot of new people joining in, a lot of new people trying to figure out what this guy is or who this guy is, Mas Sajady. Well, I've had two near-death experiences. So I've gone to the outer limits of consciousness, outer limits of time and space. Okay. And not to get too sciencey on it, because it's all about space. It's all about quantum mechanics and beyond. It's physics that we haven't even studied. There's Newtonian physics, which tells you how how an apple falls, right? And all the logistics on gravity, electromagnetism, and all that creates this reality or this world, or it dictates how this reality works. Right? And those are solid physics rules, or solid rules that we abide by. For example, if you jump off the roof and it's your idea that you're not going to fall down, you're going to fall down. So no matter what you do, those physics rules dictate how you see this reality or how you live in this reality. And then they discovered quantum mechanics or quantum science, which is, the smaller particles on how this reality works. So the quantum mechanics or the quantum physics basically dictates on how the big objects of this reality work. Okay. And it's very different laws. So what might happen with gravity with bigger objects is very different what happens to gravity, at an atomic level. Again, the quantum level. My abilities go beyond the quantum level into what I would call, say, pure physics, where you go, you transcend, and it's past. So you have hard, dense time, and then you have the undermakings of it. So it's less dense, and then you transition out of time and space. You transition out of time and space into, say, a timeless realm, and that's where you want to be, and that's where, most, not most, all of what dictates this reality is created from. So it's the blueprint on how this reality works. Okay, and within that, you have a blueprint on how you work within this reality. That blueprint, some of you might call it spirit, but again, just to get to the science of it, it is your timeless blueprint, or what I would call your pure presence in it. So at that level, through my two near-death abilities, through my two near-death experiences, I've had a chance to, say, transcend into those timeless realms, and stay there. And that's really the key. So with that, I get to see this reality from a very different perspective, a very, very different perspective. Removed, if you remove all the filters that we see, it's very, very different. If you've ever had a chance, for example, the best way I could put it is, somebody who's been, say, abused, or, pushed around, or, been in war, so on like that, or PTSD victims. That's an extreme case, I guess we could use. Again, it's an extreme case, but many individuals run different forms of PTSD, or different degrees of PTSD. So you're in PTSD, right? So for some reason or somehow, you have PTSD, and then from that point on, you see your life from that filter of whatever happened to you, and that would be unbeknownst to you. Again, the world will look very, very different compared to what you had before you had PTSD, or say you had a breakup, and now in a relationship, and then after that breakup, you see the world very, very different. Right. So how many of those filters, whether, it's fantastic experiences, like people making, a ton of money and becoming successful. That's a filter of its own. We don't get to see, say, other opportunities objectively. So all those filters, and just think, those aren't just your filters. You have a ton of filters that you have brought or inherited from your parents, and then their parents, and their parents, and their parents. So throughout your family history, how many filters do you think you're running? The way you age, that's a filter. The way you get diseased, that's a filter. The way you have relationship patterns and all those things that we, deem as our life, it isn't. It isn't. Over 90% of who you think you are came from your hereditary patterns. So exponential intelligence, again, the body of knowledge that I've labeled, I didn't create it. I didn't invent it. I just put it in a nice, neat package, like a handbook on how this reality or the physics of this reality work. So although for many of you, it is a spiritual experience, it's not anything religious or, the spiritual methods that we use today to, say, help us ascend. Nothing like that, because those only limit you. I did an enlightenment talk, maybe I think last Sunday or the Sunday before, on what real enlightenment is about. So you can check that out. But it's not just about enlightenment. It's about these brilliant individuals like Elon Musk or Nikola Tesla and so on. Yes, they are enlightened, but what happened? Or they're brilliant, but then could we do it better? And that's what we're going to be talking about. Right after this, if you want to check out my abilities, stay tuned. We'll take about half an hour, talk about these brilliant individuals, what makes them tick, and how we can even do it better. And then right after, we will get into Moss on Sundays, where I analyze your life. I don't need to know anything about you. All you have to do is, hey, Moss, can you scan me or analyze me? And I will get down to the point within a few seconds, or maybe even less, on why your life is the way it is, and then help you literally edit it. Because if I can see your blueprint, I can help you edit that blueprint as well. All right. With pretty much what I call RTTP, real-time transformations. Real-time transformation protocol. Again, it's that fast. Many of you will experience it. Many of you will experience transformations, or you will feel a shift just listening to me here. Again, that's how, say, fast you can transform your life. So even if you don't believe it, give it, step back a little bit from your filters that you have and check out something new. All right. Alrighty. So Elon Musk, Nikola Tesla, we all want to be like them, but do we really want to be like them? Just analyzing, because I can analyze anybody's blueprint, dead or alive. It doesn't matter. It's a consciousness that we tap into. But again, everybody wants to be nowadays like Elon Musk, or Nikola, or Albert Einstein, or any of those fantastic individuals, or movie stars and so on like that. But rest assured that even they don't want to be like themselves. And you might go, well, that's fucking crazy, because Elon Musk lives the life of a fantastic entrepreneur. He's a billionaire. He does all this crazy shit. On the outside, it looks, again, genius level, and he is. I'm not knocking his ingenuity down or his intelligence or anything like that. I absolutely agree what genius is. And in this scenario, I'm going to define through exponential intelligence definition on what genius is, and how you can get there safely. That's the key, safely, and with your intelligence or your being intact. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down the list. And if you have any highly, say, intelligent person that you want me to analyze, comment in on that. And if we have time, I'll analyze it for you. Okay. And again, guys, I'm not, excuse me. I'm not cutting them down in any way. Okay. I'm actually here to help them understand. So if you know these people, well, not anymore, but if you know Elon, for example, have them do a session with me to help them out even more. Okay, and it's nice to see. It's kind of like if you've ever done a new invention, if you've created a new invention, I have I've created a few myself, and there's prototypes, right? With each prototype, it's like, okay, what went wrong? What could be better? That's all I'm saying, right? Could there be a better version of Elon Musk? Yes. Could there be a better version of Nikola Tesla or those individuals, right? So that's all I'm saying. Again, I'm not knocking down. I'm not going. Go. Oh, Elon Musk. That's you don't want to be like him. No, it's not like that. It's like, let's be like him, but then just even an improved version on his method. By the way, I got this text. Really dear friend of mine. He sent me this article, and it's the 5 most overrated personalities on the planet. Okay, and the first one is Elon Musk, and why he's overrated. Okay, and again, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Oprah Winfrey, Tony Robbins. So if you want to take a look at, again, fantastic individuals, and this article, I don't know if you could see it, 5 most rated articles, individuals. So if you want to take a look at that, and yes, they give them their pitfalls, but they're human. We all have inconsistencies or distortions that we need to work on, and that's what Moss on Sundays is about. That's what the 18-day singularity meditations is about that we do. We get you into that proper zone where all aspects of you are, say, complete. Okay, so let's jump in. We'll go to Nikola Tesla, and we'll analyze them, and then we'll see what we can do better. And then after I analyze individuals, I'll take you into a deep state. Deep state. It's a hyper meditation. Again, I call it singularity meditation, where I get you into their consciousness. And it sounds really weird, but yes, I can do that for you. And if you don't believe me, well, hang out. So Nikola Tesla. So again, tapping into him, just give me a second. And some of you who have been XIers in the past, I can probably get you or pull you into those layers. So when you tap into somebody, dead or alive, or the way I do it, by the way, what I do is not intuition, psychic abilities, anything like that. It goes way beyond. Again, it goes a timeless realm. Clairvoyance, clairaudio, all those things that you hear about. Those are all physical abilities, and I'm not knocking down. I'm just telling you what they are. They're physical abilities that get channeled through your 5 senses. Mine is more of a knowing, and it's timeless, and it doesn't matter what state I'm in. The information is always accurate. And we'll make it a working lecture here. Let's take a deep breath in. Just notice where you are, and again, if you're new, just play with me. Be a kid and just explore. Right, step out of your identity of who you think you are, even if you're fearful or critical. Again, just step out of who you think you are and just play a bit. Okay, let's take a deep breath in again. And again, I'll tap into Nikola. Again, a beautiful individual. Another breath in, just notice your chest. Seems like Nikola had a lot of chest issues. Oh, yeah, he had a lot of chest issues or lung issues, or even back in the day, I guess, where he lived, could have been from coal or something like that. So what I do, again, I don't tap into that dead person per se, but there's a consciousness that still exists that Nikola, a human called Nikola Tesla, tapped into. So that consciousness, if you're aware or awakened, anybody could tap into, say, that consciousness. Or if you think of it, hey, I want to go to NikolaTesla.com, right? You would have to know, say, the specific IP address for Nikola Tesla. And if you tapped into it, you would turn into, again, soon enough, Nikola Tesla. And that sounds kind of way out there, but your representation of who you are, you have basically an IP address or a frequency signature that I call it, that renders you as you. People who have dramatically changed. Again, I help you change your IP address to something more efficient for you. So let's take a deep breath in. So Nikola Tesla, again, back in the day, very intuitive. His mom, really brilliant individual. Mom seems a little bit alien. So what that means is humans resonate at a certain frequency that I can tap into. So what does alien mean? Again, not green, green skinned people with big eyes and all that stuff. Alien is basically, you have zero level consciousness. Okay. And then higher level consciousness. Your spirit would basically be considered alien in this definition, right? High level being, timeless being that knows all. So that would be your spirit or your higher self, or your pure presence, or the limitless self, or the grander version of who you are, or however you define it, right? The bigger version of who we all know we are, right? That would be an alien in this scenario. So this reality, again, humans exist in a level 0 consciousness, and again, the numbers are just out there for clarity, and then you get into level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we go higher and higher, and with each level that we go into, we get closer and closer to our limitless self, and as we do that, and overall, that's what all these individuals have done. Okay? They don't live from this consciousness or this reality, although they exist in this reality. Their physical features are of this reality, but again, they exist in another consciousness. Now, that's what I do, but again, more congruent or more singular. That's the key. All of these brilliant individuals, and some that you've told. Some of you, again, all these, forgot that thought. Let's take a deep breath in. Oh, somebody's telling me Tesla died from heart failure. So yeah, and her chest hurt. So again, some of you might actually feel what's going on as I pull you into that consciousness. You're totally safe, by the way. Some of you might actually tend to feel like Tesla as well. So take a deep breath in again. And yes, we are all aliens, considered what I just defined, right? So again, Nikola Tesla, now that we know what alien means, again, somebody from a higher level consciousness, whether they exist in that consciousness in a different frequency that you might not see them or sense them, because again, they run different frequencies that our 5 senses can't pick up, or whether they exist in human form. That consciousness is there. So again, a little distorted per se, but back to Elon, back to Nikola. So very brilliant individual, but as a child, he was always beside himself. So you have your physical form, and again, this gets a little technical, but just work with me, and you'll see what I mean. Some of you, and maybe I'll put you into those spaces. You have a trying to look for nothing on the table here, but you have a form. Again, this is your physical identity. Okay, and then around that physical identity is your, say, essence or your spirit that creates you. Or if you think of it as a projector, a 3D hologram projector projecting the image, that's called you. Or if you want to call it your spirit. Again, we move away from that because then, religious aspects and all that come through. So when I say he's beside himself, Nikola, he would think he's here. Physically, you would see him in point, B2, but he would actually, the computer would think that he's here or his spirit would think that he's created here. So there'd be two of them. Many of you might experience that in a different way. Whenever you think you're beside yourself, or you're out of your body, or you don't feel connected to time, or you can't connect to people, that's the reason why. At some level, again, the coordinate that your higher self thinks that is creating you, compared to where you actually are, does not connect. So if you were a video game, the computer thinks, again, you're in like C3, but it's actually creating you over here. So it's hard to say maneuver, because again, the coordinates are off in the computer. So with that, it allows him to observe, basically, because he's detached of himself. If he would allow himself to observe himself in situations, which is really cool. It does mess him up in the beginning, and then yeah, I guess this is where it gets interesting. It seems like again, a loss of a brother. A loss of a brother, and then that brother didn't actually go anywhere. Right? That brother again ascended, because they're all in that family. Well, the three of them, the mother, the two kids. I think he might have had one more child, a sister, or something that nobody might know about. She was given away or something like that, or she was taken care of by somebody else. Anyway, back to Nikola. His brother dies, and he ascends into another layer of consciousness. So Nikola basically goes with him, okay? Or goes as his brother. As his brother dies, basically, it's like, hey, I'm going with you. So now, again, that disconnect, it makes it easy for Nikola to go up to where, say, his brother exists. Again, it's just a different level of consciousness. And it sounds strange, but just hear me out. And it might actually, say, parallel what some of you experience. So again, if that's what you're feeling, again, he's at level 0 consciousness. What happens is that his brother and him go into a level 10 consciousness, or 11, or whatever. It doesn't matter, but it's a very different consciousness here. So what he does over time, he's learned to go to, say, that lab in the sky, so to speak, and then come back down. So literally, he disconnects his body, and that's why if you read a lot about himself, it's like, always be alone, because you have mass intelligence, and that's true. It allows you to disconnect and then ascend. People who feel euphoric experiences, people who go through meditations, highly intelligent individuals, that's what most of the time they do. They transcend this reality, go into another reality. That's why they zone out, so to speak. And then when they come back, they have knowledge of an invention or an idea. So most of his time, again, is spent alone, because he's out. He's out to work. He works at a lab in another consciousness. I know it sounds freaky, but that's where he can, say, calculate in his mind. It's just in dream states, right? If you could, say, connect to your dream state and then manipulate your dreams, basically that's what it would be like for Nikola. He would just go into, say, another realm. He's figured out, because he was a younger child, so you can have abilities like that. And I do help kids who are gifted like that, by the way, connect to those realities without getting, say, fucked up in where they are here. But as you go more and more, you prefer that rendition of yourself, because you're more brilliant, you're closer to your higher version of who you are. You have access to more things. This reality starts to feel really heavy. The burdens of this reality, the inconsistencies, the lies of how people run themselves or think about themselves, and all that start to come through. Again, much like I see all the lies that people run in this reality. And I see it, but again, I do it very differently. And then he comes back down again. So he goes up, works in his lab in the sky, and he'll come back down and then replicate it somehow here. Simple as that. The key is that when he goes into that consciousness, he's bringing his consciousness or the materials that we have here in this plane over to this. It's like, okay, this is what we've got. Okay. If you can think of it as, like say the Apollo 13 mission, right? They're there, and then he's down. The crew is down here. They have an issue, right, with Apollo 13. It's like, and then the crew goes, "Hey, this is what we've got to work with." And then the crew figures out, say, something to fix whatever they need to fix. So the same thing with Nikola is like, "Hey, this is what I've got here on Earth. What can we do with it here?" And simply, that's how a lot of his great inventions have come through. So, and again, it's an amazing ability, and I do help people do that the safer way. But as you come back down, each time you come back down, and this is where his inconsistencies come, he doesn't say directly connect. He doesn't say plug into his identity, human identity. And with every, say, time over time, well, he gets more and more disconnected of himself. So if you knew him personally, he would be, well, mentally unstable, and he would have to do things to, again, precision himself back into, again, this reality or this coordinate. Okay. So very interesting man, very beautiful man, by the way. So if he would have done it right, again, he would have, say, specifically understood what coordinate exists in him here to create him here. And then as he ascended, he comes back down, and he would be in more precision and more enlightened in physical form as well, not just, say, in space. Or if you've ever noticed geniuses or enlightened people, brilliant minds, they don't connect with this reality. They're very different. If you know them personally, again, if people have, I'm sure, seen Elon Musk because he's alive. He's very, very different, right? He doesn't connect with anybody. He won't connect with anybody. He can't connect with anybody because he exists in a different reality. So we'll move into Elon Musk. Let's take a deep breath in. So many of you are kind of distorted, or, say, clairvoyant, or whatever. You get your intelligence, or even, genius people in business realms, or even other aspects. People who are famous, like singers and have great abilities. Again, they get their talent, or they actually disconnect. So that's why when you see a lot of them on stage, right, they're in another, say, zone. Well, that's because they are in another zone, and they're channeling that. Again, it's not the best form because it destroys them, as you see many. And then sometimes, or a lot of times, a lot of those performers get inhabited by another identity. So with Elon, again, an interesting gentleman. Everybody wants to be like him, but he, again, it's tough being Elon. And the way he works is that he, when he was born, he had. So what I talked about, Nikola. So when he was born, so seems like the mother, a lot of drugs are messed up. Yeah. So again, abused, or drugs, or whatever it might be, from what I'm seeing. So again, and you have a child, and you're in that state, that environment, that you just don't know, say, where you are, right? You're kind of like zoned out pretty much most of the time. Again, the mechanism, and just to go a little deeper on how that works, because we use it in the singularity meditations in the 18 days that we do, to focus and precision, put people in precision in time and space, because that's where all abundance comes from, and that's where the abundance that you do create in this reality actually functions for you. It makes you worthwhile. There's a lot of, say, millionaires and billionaires out there that I work with, actually, and it's like they're not really connected. They have the goodies, but again, they're not really connected, right? So anyway, so your natural, your autonomic nervous system, right? It dictates your breathing patterns, your digestive, all the thousands or millions of things that you need, right? You don't think, you don't, every time you don't go breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. There's a mechanism again in your brain that says, hey, if I'm running, I elevate my, blood pressure and all that stuff to keep me, well, alive here, right? That's all autonomic. You've got nothing to do with it. It's a deeper layer of your brain. So there's a deeper layer, again, at your frequency level. It would be a frequency, the autonomic. So that dictates to tell you, oh, you're in coordinate, this coordinate. You're in this coordinate, you're in this coordinate. So you start to see how you render yourself in this reality. Okay. And it always tells you where you are according to space-time. So for many individuals, especially if you take drugs and so on like that, that gets a little disoriented. So if you do take psychedelics and so on, and by the way, I'm doing plant medicine. If it's not this week, the week after that, not next Moss on Sunday, the next week, I believe. Anyway, when you so take a look at that. I did a plant medicine on Moss on Sundays again. So we're going to be celebrating plant medicine and their personalities, by the way. I think on the 27th of April. Okay. Anyway, back to this. So when you take plant medicines or something, for example, again, there's other ways of doing it. You could get into a horrific accident. You can get into a euphoric moment. You could get into whatever, and it disorients you just a bit. Or you could have a near death. It disorients you just a bit, right? And again, you disconnect, and then you're off. So with that in mind, so say you're in this psychedelic state, or your mother is in this psychedelic state all the time. That autonomic nervous system doesn't work well for that child, which would be Elon. So he comes out, and then what happens if that doesn't work out well? Okay, is that all possibilities or all realities that can happens to you at the same time. Imagine that. Just imagine all the things that you filter out or you could be, and they're right around you. Again, you have these filters, or again, it tells you which reality or which, say, consciousness that you're in. So when you're like that, all the possibilities happen. And as a young kid, again, and I'm sure somebody could verify who knows him personally, as a young child, he would go, "Oh my God, did you see that? And it's so cool." The one thing I have to, again, really impress with him is most people who run this pattern, and he's got a shitload of possibilities. Again, reality is open, but most people who run this pattern are in insane asylums, because it just, they go into dark conscious or dark realities. Somehow, again, through ingenuity or whatever, he sees the possibilities of what this reality could be. So he sees things that most people don't. And, as a young kid, it's like, hey, did you see this? And people would probably go, what the fuck, dude? What are you talking about? So again, it isolates him. And that's the key. It pulls him in. And as a kid, again, he's always out there. He's never paying attention. He's never, again, severe, let's say ADD, ADHD, whatever, what we call it. Again, I see it as glimmers of genius for those who have kids with that. And I help, I'm not a doctor or psychologist, but I help those kids in about a session or two. I literally reconnect them to their autonomic, say, space-time system, and they don't need drugs. They don't need anything like that. So if you have kids like that, I would suggest doing a session with me, again, to help those kids out and then help them expand into their genius differently. Okay, so back to Elon. So over time, again, highly intelligent. Over time, he's figured out. He's figured out that all the possibilities around me can't happen at once. So he's very keen on time and space, and he categorizes time and space, basically, or consciousness. He categorizes it, and he's categorized it in about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13 different, say, spaces. Okay, so over time, what he does, and again, it's ingenious. It's brilliant how he does it, and again, a lot of power, by the way. So he's in the middle. Okay. And imagine that you're sitting in the middle, and then, it's like a donut, right? He's in the middle of that donut of consciousness. Okay. And each segment, again, that donut is separated into, say, 13 realities. So now, he's categorized 13 different realities. So he's in the center. And then say he does, um, say he invents PayPal, right? Basically, he goes into that consciousness and literally like connects to that consciousness. Right? He connects into that consciousness, and he has great ideas creating PayPal. He'll step back out, right? And then it's like, oh, I'll do Tesla. Tesla, which is over here. He'll literally step into that room or that consciousness where ideas and concepts about electronic cars and all that stuff come in. He'll step back, and SpaceX is another consciousness that he steps into. Again, it's really fantastic. And when you can do that, well, you're duplicating yourself. He can duplicate himself 13 times. Clearly, it does burn you out, obviously, because you're rendering 13 different identities of yourself. So what that would mean is basically he's in the center and he's like duplicating himself 13 times. I duplicate myself differently, but he duplicates himself, and that's where he gets a shitload of stuff done that's inhumanly possible. Because imagine if there was like, he can do 13, but again, he 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, he does like 6. Okay. So imagine that you duplicate yourself 6 times, how much more productive you would be. So he, as he steps out, okay, a rendering of him is still in that consciousness. And then as he steps back in, again, that rendering of him still works on the whatever that he needs to work on for Tesla or SpaceX or whatever. And then he steps back into himself, at a conscious level, a human level, and he goes, oh, and then all these things just like literally, as he steps into that consciousness, it's literally like getting a download. So if you work with him or see him, it's like, shit, what happened? He's like, so he gets a download, and it's like, oh, we got to do this. So imagine that. That's really cool. The pitfalls of that, and again, you can do this, you can create it, and I can help him out, by the way. He pulls the pitfalls of that is that when he's in the center, he becomes nobody. It's just a blank slate. And this is why he needs people. He needs somebody to anchor onto, and he's, connecting to his kids. And that's why, or he would like to be alone with just one person, because if he's with a lot of people, he can literally zoom in or just go and then connect. Basically, he doesn't know how to stay singular. He basically, so if there's a ton of people, and he mingles and so on like that, again, he'll soon leave or disconnect, or again, people would leave. Anyway, what will happen is, again, he hangs out with a group and just like, he just like becomes the other people, if that makes sense. And then he gets into their minds, and then he's not impressed with a lot of people. So he'd rather just stay like with his kids, or just say one woman. The relationships don't work out well after a while, because once he gets to understand that woman, well, he can't sink in time, because again, once you become familiar, you destabilize yourself, right? Because say that you step into cold water, right? You can tell the difference, right? But if you say we're born in that water, you couldn't tell that you're that water. So over time, again, you become familiar with that person, and he has to disconnect, because again, it doesn't allow him to stabilize, because there's no reference points. So and over time as well, it gets harder and harder to go, well, where the hell am I? Which he might go into a consciousness, and because it takes a lot of energy to pull yourself back, and it's like, shit, and he might get stuck in different consciousness. And so as he ages, again, just mental distortion, I guess. There's one more thing I was going to say. Yeah, so that's how he works. Okay, so let's take a deep breath in. So can you do that better? Of course you can. Um, so he has these fantastic genius abilities. Again, and some of you kind of have not as intense as him, but a better way of version of doing it is where you're a singular being, and you can actually say expand yourself into that, and then contract back into your singularity, your being here. Again, the key for most of these geniuses is that they're point A. They have to access another point outside of their consciousness, point Z, let's say. When they step back, again, there's always a disorientation, just much like his rockets, right? It goes out into space, and then how the fuck do I figure out how to bring it back exactly where I need it to land, or where it took off? So every time he takes off, it's off just by a feet or whatever. Over time, again, you're off by a few feet, you're way off, right? By the time you hit 60s and 70s and so on. So what we do here with exponential intelligence is literally, well, hey, if you want, and we'll do that right now. Let's take a deep breath in. I'll get you into the consciousness real quick. Breath in again. Let's see if I can get you into that point where Elon, or how Elon feels, say around people. There you go. Breath in again. So if you are those people who are like spacey or always out there, you might actually feel really good because you identify who you are more. For those who aren't like that, you might feel a little spacey or heady or like out there, right? So imagine, and I'm not going to completely do that to you, but imagine magnifying that spaciness all the time. You would have to figure out again how to keep things in order. There we go. So let's say he goes into certain consciousness. Do you notice how you kind of like slipped over? And then do you notice how you're off center? So he always has to figure out, how do I pull myself in center? So again, I can help him do it, not physically, by again connecting to a certain individual or kids or something physical, but at a high level consciousness. Again, if you stayed there, it would mess you up, right? So let's pull you back in to center. There we go. Noticing how you feel. There we go. So I'll leave you in this space. Again, notice how that feels. Now, notice if you can, again, expand yourself, get into those genius level consciousnesses, and then come back through. Not saying I can do that for everybody, depending on how available you are to your own self or the possibilities of who you are. But those who are, say, highly intuition and then genius are two different frequencies. But again, if you are, say, a brilliant business individual, right, or brilliant talent or whatever, I can help you. So you have, say, the makings already. Again, I can help you accelerate that. Or if you're like an athlete, you want to be better, top performers, again, I can help you accelerate that without the physicalness, because yes, you can do something like Elon, but again, it destroys who the being of you are, and that's the key. And that's again, most of us want to be that genius level, but it's a heavy cost to that. This eliminates that heavy cost for you. So if you have kids, and they have like genius aptitude and so on, highly recommend connecting with my staff, customers at massajady.com. See if we could do make a program for that. We are going to do a lecture series and deep state hyper meditation, again, singularity meditations, where we'll guide people in. And again, I can't guarantee anything for anybody, but the more apt you are to have that inclination of intuition or ingenuity, the easier I can get you into that state. So if you're interested in that, shout out either here or customers would be better, but it would be a lecture series and deep meditation where I would, and I'm just throwing it out there if that's what you guys are really into. It'd be great for business individuals, by the way, to create, the new business paradigm. But it would be about expanding like the way Elon does, and then again, compressing you properly. It would be not exactly sure, but it would be more than obviously one event. So I'll have to lay out the plans. But if you're interested in that, again, let us know. Customers at massajady.com. So we'll take a break. I'll be right back in about a minute, guys. We'll get into the analysis. All right. So I'll see you in just about a minute. One-on-one, I've worked on, say, close to 100,000 people. That's a lot of understanding the deep level science on how human potential works.
I must say, I started this conversation being 100% skeptical. Well, I don't know how you do what you did, but you turned me into a believer.
When I talk about starting fresh, that doesn't mean, you break up with a relationship or you're in a relationship and then you set down new boundaries, you set down new rules and guidelines, because that doesn't work. It hasn't worked in the past. And the reason why it hasn't worked is because you're still the same person. I've had 2 near-death experiences. From those 2 near-death experiences, I've realized that this reality can be very, very different. I'm actually here to change your underlying program on how you see yourself in relationships. Let's do that. Let's kind of follow up on how you guys feel, maybe bring you all together, and we'll just do a brief synopsis. I think that'd be really cool as well. Hey guys, we are back. Welcome back to part 2 of Moss on Sundays, where I analyze you. Again, I don't channel. I'm not a psychic or anything like that. I have abilities that we all have, by the way. I've just figured out how to use that brilliance. Before we start, and for those who want an analysis, just write in, comment in, and that's all you have to say. Literally, hey, analyze me. And if you're one of the lucky ones, I will analyze you and tell you. By the way, I have to read this legally. This is Mas Sajady with Exponential Intelligence, Sunday, April 11th, 2021. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't diagnose or heal. I'm not a financial analyst or anything like that. I'm just giving you what I see, okay? I can scan your frequency signature and tell you what I see, please consult your doctor for professional advice if I give you any medical issues that you might have. Again, I'm just seeing what would be there. If you ask to be scanned today, you're agreeing that we may use your sessions on any public media to help inspire others. So remember, it's really easy. If you don't want us to share your session, then don't ask to be scanned. Pretty straightforward, right? All contents are protected by copyright. You may not use our content in any way, shape, or form for any purpose without my written permission. And please, 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 guys, just type your request once and only once. Otherwise, I won't analyze you. All right. The copyright thing, guys. There's so many people who are starting to duplicate our content. Obviously, they don't have my ability, so watch out for those individuals, or they might take our content or write it in their own words. So watch out for people like that. So it's a great compliment, but again, it's not right. So don't do that. All right. Alrighty. A lot of great comments on on the talk here, so thank you for that. Just give me a second here. Perfect. Alrighty, so we'll go on. We'll move on. This is Terry Heller. Again, I don't need to know anything about you. You can even use your fake name. Doesn't really matter. You have an underlying, say, IP frequency signature that I tap into. So I bypass all your belief systems and all that stuff. Anyway, Terry, scan you, please. You're starting to see, or you're starting to actually break apart in a good way. You're starting to break apart and see how you have been other people, right? Say like in the past, you connect with somebody really close, again, a deep relationship, and then you start to just kind of turn into them. And it's like, shit, what happened to me? Right. And you blend, and then you have issues with really like, shit, I can't live without that person and this and this. And then suddenly it's like you have to disconnect somehow. But that residue of that person sticks with you. So what you're doing now is like, wait a second, I don't need all these attachments on me. And that's what you're feeling, again, whatever that you've done with me. You're feeling like all these attachments, those attachments, or the heaviness that you're experiencing was once you. That was once you thought it was you. Again, it's like if it was a bowl of soup and you were all mixed in, all these personalities that were around you were all mixed in, and you didn't know who you are. But again, doing whatever that you've done with me, it's like pulling it out and going, okay, the center person is me. The stuff that's leaving me is these other people. So in this mini session, let's just push those other identities out a bit further. So what you would experience, and by the way, if I'm just working on, say, Terry, I'm not just working on that person. If you have of similar patterns, I'll be working on you as well. So we can all take a deep breath in and just really connect. It just helps me connect or work on more people if you're all, in congruency. Otherwise, it'd be like herding cats. So it wouldn't be beneficial for you. And I'm not, it'd take too much time to help you out. Anyway, so what's happening, what you would experience, Terry, is that you'll find yourself more and more of yourself, more and more peace, where you just might not want to do anything, in a good way. It's like, shit, I just love just being. That's you finding you and just enjoying time with yourself. So take that opportunity, and then you'll see, like you might switch into, say, that kind of a personality, or you go, oh, you know what, I used to think like this, or I used to like the color, blue or red or whatever, but that wasn't even you. That was, say, that personality. So you'll start to see your likes, dislikes, and all that stuff change, because again, they weren't you. Those were those other people. So really nice job, by the way. This one, this is, gosh, so many people, guys. Elizabeth Wolf. Hi, Ross, can you scan me? Sure. So Elizabeth, again, always in your head. There's yeah, always in your head, really kind of scared of being in your body, or scared of being who you are, or not feeling complete. You're always wondering, if you're good enough, basically, if you're good enough, if you can say appear. And this usually happens, in your case, and I could be off, but say you have a strong father figure or a strong masculine figure that's kind of telling you what to do out of either love or out of, abuse, whichever way. And you're always referencing yourself according to what they would think that you are like. So maybe a deeper, a really deep connection with your father, or again, there's an entanglement there. So you're always looking at yourself through, say, your father's eyes, or a masculine identity. When that happens, well, you're again, you're female. So what happens there is that you pull yourself out, and again, you look at the reality through, again, a masculine identity, which doesn't serve you well. And then you get disconnected from your body because, well, you're female, you have a male consciousness. By the way, this this type of frequency, say that you're like that, your cellular structure, your DNA changes. You have kids, you seem a lot older, but and even if you're young, you would seem older because, well, your dad would be an older individual, right? So again, you would age faster, by the way, because you're rendering his patterns, not yours. So, by the way, if I read you, analyze you guys, please comment back on the accuracy of it. Not for my purpose. I know I'm accurate. It's just like, I don't know. I see it so clearly. It's like that painting on the wall. I see exactly what it is. But it's good for you to go, shit, what is this guy tapping into? And it's good for those individuals who are just getting in. It's like, gosh, there is something out there more that we can tap into, right? Like cloud computing, right? Something more out there that we can tap into that dictates this reality. So that's why. So anyway, for you, Elizabeth, helping you come back into your body, because as of late, again, whatever you've done with me, you've stepped into your body. You've stepped into your body more and more, and you're going, yeah, I need to be more of a, myself, my own being. So let's take a deep breath in, guys. And again, if you're really new, just say, hey, you're new, never done this work before, and I can analyze you. This is Lorenda P. Will you scan me to help with productivity? Sure. Well, the reason why you don't finish anything that you start, Lorenda, is that you're in, say, several. You have so many different. I want to say aspects of you, not identities or personalities, but although they're there as well. But you have so many aspects of you that, you'll start, and this is where the key is. Say you have at least a dozen different aspects of you. Okay. One aspect wants to do X, one aspect wants to do Y, the other aspect again. So all these things, and you start all these little projects, and then you never get any of them done. And the reason why, again, you're not lazy or whatever, but the reason why is because you can't figure out, say, which aspect of you you're in. Say that you started, you're an aspect of yourself B, and then you go to aspect, F, right? So what happens is, as you pull back aspect F, aspect F of you, your identity of F, say, goes into aspect of yourself B, and it's like, why did I start this project? Why did I do it? And then it's like, shit, I don't need this project again. So you kind of lose yourself as you get into these little projects. And that's what you've done, I guess. As a young child, you've always wanted to lose yourself because you wanted to, say, push away whatever environment that you were in. So it's like, well, I'll just keep myself busy. So you just do busy work. here and there, but then you actually have nice abilities from that. It's like you've basically got it into different layers of consciousness, and then you can't come out, or you come. So you've gotten stuck. So it's an easy fix. Just take a deep breath in, hon, and I'll just put you back into where you need to be. When I do that sometimes for people, you will remember some of the reasons why you stepped out of your identity. Again, not say the best home life for you. So you would escape, simple as that. Or it's like, I don't want to watch all this stuff that's going on here. I'll just pay attention to this aspect. So again, as a young child, you've got great abilities. You would push into that consciousness and then again, open it up. So let's pull you back. And then later on, you would, I can help you expand. This is Pamela Nix. Can you help me? Can you help my daughter-in-law really struggling after delivery? We're going to do a pregnancy series coming out for individuals, and then also a surgery series coming up as well for individuals to help. So your daughter-in-law, she was never really herself. She was always like trying to escape or be another person or kind of lost. It's like, who the hell am I? Who am I? Who am I? And he's attached onto, well, your son, because your son is a more solid anchor. So basically your son's a solid anchor, and she just like pulls on him. So it's, so that relationship, well, whether it's now or over time, again, when you start pulling on people like that, your son loses his identity, and then it doesn't make her secure. So she literally has to figure out who she is. So having a baby, again, the baby's more awakened, and this is where some people go through postpartum and so on like that, is that that baby, and maybe an XI baby, that baby awakens the mother, and she goes through detox, and then it's like, how the hell do I get out? Because all the so in a nutshell, your daughter-in-law can't connect to your son, and then she's just floating in space. She can't connect like she used to. So she's floating in space. It's like, whoa, it's like, where I can't reference anything. So, and then again, there's an escape mechanism in her, always like escaping the father from what I'm seeing, or it could be the mother, but a masculine identity. So masculine identity come with her. So again, always escaping a masculine identity. So it's not even about the baby, but yeah, and I kind of see again the baby awakened, and the baby won't allow her to latch on to him from what I'm seeing. So that's a problem as well. Again, probably an XI or an awakened, the new generation of kids, they're not going to want their parents to just to basically dump all their garbage. Most parents have kids, or most people have pets because they want to latch on to somebody or something, and then yes, they're comforting, but again, what happens is they want to latch on because they're lost themselves, and they just want to regurgitate all their garbage into their pets. That's why the animals have weird diseases, human diseases that animals in the raw don't, again, because they run their patterns. Look at you. That's what your parents mostly did to people. Anyway, so now what does she do? So I would suggest a session with me. If she's not into that, I can work on her through you because she's willing at a spirit level, or do the 18 days. Right? By the way, before we move on to Nilo Bear, the 13-way reunion for those people who have relationship issues, April 21st. So we got a lot of feedback, a lot of people watching the 13-way. So thank you for that. If you want to really understand why your relationship is the way it is and fix it properly, we are doing a 13 ways reunion. We're gonna bring back, and it's free, by the way. We're gonna bring back some of the people that I analyzed and worked on, and then bring them back and see how their life changed. And again, from what we're hearing, the people that were reconnecting, holy crap, amazing results. guys, in just, I don't know, a few short weeks. So if you want a really solid relationship, again, sign up for the newsletter. That's all you have to do. Sign up for the newsletter, and then you get access to 13 ways. And it's it's 13, it's like 13 hours of relationship. And it's the best, from what I've heard, again, from you all, thank you for that. It's the best relationship advice because it actually works for you, that you can have. And again, 13 ways coming up April 21st at 11:30 a.m. Central. And then along with that, because it spurred so many people to shift during the 13 ways, it's like, God, can we do more of this? And yes, yes, we can. We're doing a singles and couples event. So I know many of you are, jamming our emails. So just be patient, guys. We just want to do it right. So we want to take all the logistics and so on, because it takes a lot to put on an event, even if it's online. So we'll get the details coming out. We'll announce in the newsletter and on the website when the dates are announced. So just bear with us, okay? We're going to do it. We just don't know the logistics because, again, we want to do it right. Okay. The Nilo bear. Let's see. Please scan me, my possibilities, confirm deletions, and step into higher self. So Nilo, you've done a fantastic job. This is like your second layer. It's almost like you have you're getting a second chance on life. The possibilities are coming in for you. Again, amazing possibilities that are coming for you. So really, really nice job. What you want to do, and that's what you're in tune with, is like, you don't want to step back into your old patterns, and I'll help you with that in just in this mini session. So again, confirming your deletions, which is basically, you're a higher version, and then you still running your lower version of who you are, right? And then basically confirming deletions means, for the new people, is like, hey, am I running my old version or am I running my new self? You just don't do some of the things that you did as your old self, right? So yes, switching over that, and don't worry about falling backwards, because I think you're worried about, well, is the next shoe going to drop? That kind of feel for you. No, this is yours. It's your life now. It's your identity. Nobody can take it away from you. I think in the past, people would try to take away things from you, your life, your essence. No, this is all you, hon. So embrace it. Confirm that. Love yourself. And that means just be good to yourself. Okay? Watch your thoughts, because at this level, you start to materialize what you think about. Not what you think about, but how you think about what you think. RA, it's been 5 years since last scan. So you, again, what's happening for you is, again, it seems like you just came back into the community. So welcome back, or there's a newness in you, whichever way. But there seems like there's somebody who is like ill, or dying, or have died, that's connecting with you. So people who start to awaken or elevate themselves into the higher levels consciousness, again, as this reality, as this reality starts to ascend to a higher level of consciousness, whether you like it or not, things can't just stay the same. There's going to be people, whether on the other side or this side, that are going to latch on to people who are more brighter. So be aware of that, and that's what's happening for you. By the way, we can help you disconnect from that. Yeah, a lot of people really sending in great comments. Thank you for that. This one, Lisa, been with you for a while, but still have major health digestive issues and wealth blocks. I would love a scan. Sure. And again, Lisa, what some of the issues that people have, and again, really rapid transformations, almost real time, for many people who are willing to let go. And that's the problem with you, Lisa, is that, you start to see changes in everything, but you have this soft heart. And then what happens is that you burden yourself with people, right? You get really good. So you have this really deep idea that to be a good person, I need to say, absorb other people's burdens. And that's not even your pattern, by the way. It's like your grandma's pattern. Yeah. grandma, it's not your mom, or your mom didn't feel like a mother. Anyway, grandma or grandfather's pattern, like that, right? You work your ass off basically, and then you get nothing, so to speak, in this life, because you're going to get gifted in the afterlife. It doesn't really work that way. So that's what you're doing. So anyway, you clean up really well, but then it's like, hey, to be a good person, I'm going to grab somebody else's garbage and then filter it through me. So if you've noticed, Lisa, around you, miraculously, people who don't even do the work, the XI work like you have, they change, their life changes, they become better, they become healthier, but then you go up on this roller coaster, right? You feel good, and then somebody latches onto you, and then, well, you clean their shit out, and then they feel really good. And then you're kind of like stuck. It's like, hey, well, what the hell happened? Right? And they're not even doing the work. So you have to disconnect that pattern. Again, that's what I'm helping you with, to help you realize what's really you. Okay. And sometimes, you might get a little bitchy after this, or closed off, or you don't care about other people. That's a good thing for you, by the way, because you're just way too open. And you hold on to people right in your gut. So we need to close that up. Again, confirm your deletions. Okay. A lot of good things coming up as well, guys. This is Sigmi, and Voluntaridio. And I'm so sorry if I messed up your name. Would love a scan. Sure. So you're always looking for possibilities of who you could be, but then what happens is, again, you're here, and then you always like escape outside of yourself. So and that's the problem. You always escape outside of yourself, and then when you do, and it seems like you might have done something as well, kind of a little alien type frequencies, or ayahuasca. No, I don't know if you've done meditation groups, or you've done something with somebody that like is disconnected to you or disassociated you. So you got to watch out for that, guys. There's a lot of people who say they can do a lot of things, but they don't do it really congruently, and it distorts you. Like a lot of people are doing like ayahuasca trips and stuff like that with, shamans that aren't real shamans. They just took some ayahuasca for a week, and then, they got this paper that says, hey, you're a shaman. Shamans don't work like that. But anyway, when you get into stuff like that, again, whether it's plant medicines and stuff like that, or just, following a teacher, you're basically absorbing their frequencies because they're not doing it properly. So you have to do it properly. And that's what I see in you. So let's pull you out. Let's pull whoever out of you, so you can say, step back in. Okay. You don't have to step outside of yourself to find enlightenment. In fact, that's the wrong way to do it. And you can only go so far before you get fucked up. So one of the ways to really push yourself or put yourself back in is that we have a driving event coming up, and it's our first live event for a long time because of COVID, and that's in my home state, Minnesota. So that's coming up. It's called Drive to Success Consciousness. And this is for people who are really real, and they really want to start to materialize or become super successful, and they're willing to do the work, because this is like becoming, say, a monk, like a super monk status in a very short time, in a weekend period. And again, so I insert that programming of being super conscious of who you are over the weekend. So whatever that does not make you conscious, or your old habits, they have to die really quick. So again, it's an intense series that we're doing, spatial goal setting, which is very different than, goal setting that doesn't work for the masses, no matter who says it out there, right? There's always these goal setting techniques and all that. This goes beyond that. This is materialization, not goal setting. And then it also shows you how to put yourself into, say, moments of present moment time that, again, you start to become brilliant. Like some of the people like we discussed. It is you don't have to drive. It is a high performance driving event, but you don't have to drive to take benefit. But those who are really serious, again, the driving event is really fantastic, and also it's great for your kids. So if you don't want to drive, I think it's great for your kids. It's an insurance policy for them to drive safely, right? And again, we use high speed driving to put you into space and time much more efficiently. But again, if you don't want to do that, that's fine. It'd be great, again, like I said, for the kids and you. It's an insurance policy, so you don't get into accidents. Oh, someone is talking about my daughter, Emmy, so take a look at her as well. Really great. Emmy, E-M-M-E, Sajady.com. I'm more like a surgeon. I just see what's going on with you and delete it. She's more of that loving space, like post-op, basically. And she helps you put yourself back together. Please come back to Hawaii. I'd love it. Definitely, we'll do that for sure. This is Cabero. Veronica, Moss, can you tell me how I'm doing? Thank you. Sure. So there's a death that you hadn't been able to let go of, whether it's your parents or like a spouse or something. There's some kind of death around you, and it might be your death, again, a parent or a spouse, or say like your mom experienced the death of like her father or her parents, and she never got over it, and you were there to experience it, and now you're carrying that burden. So so either way, whichever way, it doesn't matter. It's your frequencies now. So and what you're doing is basically starting to realize that you need to say separate or put that death, bury that death, so you can be you. Yeah. So just take a deep breath in, and I'll help you quickly with that. So let's help you let go of whoever. There we go. And we'll do this. How about this? Those individuals who have had people that they can't let go of, or people who are close to crossing over, we'll just do a quick group meditation. Breath in, guys, and then we'll call it a day. Breath in, nice, strong, deep breath in. Again, a death or a loss that you haven't been able to let go of, or you're connected to somebody that's affecting you because they can't let go of a death. There we go. Some of you who might be suicidal, and you go, my life is great, but why am I suicidal? Because there's the death that's connected that demands that you fall into that abyss. Not a good thing, by the way. So let's help you with those as well, because a lot of you are coming out. Breath in again. There we go. Notice how you feel, and again, comment in. Probably a lightness or a release. So they're awakened. You become more awakened, or again, more of yourself. So again, guys, we could go on and on. Does it work for pets as well? Yes. Definitely. Pets, young kids, they change so well. This one, Saguna, says, that's weird. I have only been doing XI stuff for the past year. Well, what about before the year? Again, if you're doing XI, basically what you're done, and again, you're going to that level where, you are releasing past stuff, and people release, like, not just your stuff. People start to release, like generations back, not just your parents' generations, but again, 10, 15, 20, 30 generations back of hereditary patterns. And that way you can release, how you age and how you get ill and all that stuff. You don't have to look like your parents as you age. None of that. So for you, again, you're clearing that off from old stuff. Will you do something for clearing ancestral trauma? Yeah, well, that's what we do. Again, the 18-day meditations, do that for you at a group level. If you need, I do individual sessions. They do get booked up, but most of your issues can be resolved on the 18 days. And then you want to schedule a personal session after one 18-day, suggested. You don't have to. And then when you get onto that personal session, and there is a waiting list, so you can sign up for that. But when you get onto that personal session, it's not about fixing you, because that's already started. It makes it easier for me to, again, disconnect you from your old patterns, because it's already, the process has started, and then push you into your possibilities. And that's what I'm really excited about. So, all right. This one, Doctor, can you please help our loved ones that we lost and still can't let go to cross over safely? That's why you're probably asking. Again, I already did that for you. So if you're feeling like, oh, it's time to let go of your loved ones, that's the reason why, because of this. And by the way, you can re-listen to that little snippet of it, or even put that little snippet on a loop. We do have graceful crossing for those individuals. Again, it helps the deceased and you as well. So take a look at that. Again, graceful crossings, and maybe my staff can put that on the chat for you. Okay. So much yawning. Yes, because you're disconnecting. It's your way of disconnecting and coming into your own self. Food obsessions, things of that nature. Yes, we can do that as well. 13 ways helped me so much. So you're so welcome. All right. Looks like that's it. If you have any content or subjects that you want to cover on Moss on Sundays, write them in, and we'll, if it's good, we'll make a topic on it. Again, as we end, guys, notice what you notice, and then notice the details of what you're noticing. All right. Peace.